Hey there, Mallory Wilsey here, Chief Producer of the Enrollify Network. And I want to take just a moment to tell you about another show on our podcast network that I think you'll love. The EduData podcast is your no-fluff guide to the data driving higher education. Forget about data silos and disconnected stacks. Timothy Davis and Jamie Boggs, two of Element 451's data analysis experts, bring you straight into the heart of the numbers that matter. With sharp commentary and rigorous research, our hosts break down complex data points and actionable insights you can use. Whether you're an administrator, educator, or just a higher ed enthusiast, EduData is your key to unlocking the data behind academia. New episodes drop every Friday morning, and you can subscribe to the show by visiting podcast.enrollify.org or just search the EduData podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Mastering the Next, a cutting-edge podcast that explores the future of graduate, online, and non-traditional education through the lens of AI and technology. I'm your host, Dr. Ray Lutsky, Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at Element 451. Join me for discussions with some of the thought leaders shaping the future of graduate enrollment management through technology. Mastering the Next is a part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher education professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org or check out some of my personal favorites linked in the show notes below. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform that helps institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. Recruiting graduate students often involves looking within the existing campus community, re-engaging current students, and reaching out to past applicants who may now have a renewed interest in graduate study. In this episode, I'm joined by Richard Graham, Assistant Vice President for Enrollment Strategy and Engagement at Thomas Jefferson University, to discuss how to grow graduate student programs by reconnecting with students the school already knows. Welcome, Richard. Glad to have you here.
Rick, thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
I know you have some great things to share with our listeners, so I have to start by asking what's next for Thomas Jefferson University's approach to managing the search for potential students, especially in the context of graduate programs.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And just to level set, I want to talk a little bit about my role here at Jefferson and what I'm responsible for, because I think it gives really great context to the conversation. My role is responsible for overseeing all of our demand generation efforts for our first year, transfer, and graduate portfolio, as well as our continuing and professional studies portfolio at the university. Jefferson is comprised, and we're located here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but we're comprised of about 8,300 students. We have around 200 programs total, just a little over 200 programs total, and 160 of them are in our graduate portfolio. We do have multiple campus locations, a traditional campus location, which we call our East Falls campus, our Center City campus location, which is located in downtown Philadelphia. That's where our primary health programs are located, or upper division health programs are located, and students are studying there. And then we have two other campuses in our network as well that our students are studying at in our health programs as well. With that being said, we've always had the challenge of how do we find graduate students in our portfolio? We do that through a lot of traditional lead acquisition sources by program specifically. So we acquire names through PCAT, for example, for our Doctor of Pharmacy students. We've tried to purchase GRE names in the past for our MBA students and some other select programs. And we do have a lot of traditional SEM or search engine marketing campaigns that we run to acquire leads. We've recently tried to really start some experimental sources, or we've tried working with some experimental strategies like recruitment platforms like Niche, for example, to acquire names. But what we've really tried to do, and we're going into year 5 of our CRM implementation, at the university. We brought on a new CRM in late 2019, early 2020. And so we're now really trying to utilize data from past cycles of our first year undergraduate class of students that we acquired and they converted to leads or applicants. We're really starting to utilize that data and think about how can we re-engage these students with the Jefferson brand and while they're thinking about graduate school opportunities. And then last but not least, really, we're starting to think about our own employees. Jefferson is the second largest employer in Philadelphia. We do have around 4,200 or 42,000 employees in our enterprise. And for example, 9,600 of them are nurses. We have a large nursing program or program options within our College of Nursing. So we've really started to think about how we can engage our own employees to utilize their tuition benefits to enroll in our graduate program options. We have a really great case study of our nurses, like I said, in working with our different nursing programs in the College of Nursing, going out to our own employees and really engaging them through information sessions and abbreviated application process, et cetera, to fast track them into our graduate programs.
I'd love to double click on something you just mentioned. Could you maybe expand a bit on the different sources that you're getting names from for prospective student outreach? How do you determine which of those sources are the most valuable?
Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of data and reporting, essentially, and trying to determine as we're looking at those first inquiry sources or those first origin sources as we load them into our CRM of how those students convert throughout the applicant funnel. We have extensive communication plans built that include email, print, text, call campaigns, digital strategy. And we really look at that data as how students are converting through the funnel. And when we purchase names specifically, we found that students are, for example, we're purchasing GRE names. Those students for us specifically are converting at a pretty low level. Because students they're taking one, we don't require the GRE at Jefferson for any of our programs. So when we were purchasing those names, which we no longer do, those students were converting at a pretty low rate to even from prospect to inquiry or to applicant because we don't require the GRE. And we've also found that when students are taking the GRE, they know where they want to go for the most part. They're taking the exam because they want to get into X school that requires that exam. So we've actually stopped purchasing GRE names, for example, because we don't require that exam for any of our programs.
It's interesting because that would seem to be sort of a tried and true list of names to go after. But it's interesting that you sort of have to look at it in context and say, this may not be the right move for the institution. Thinking more broadly about what you're working on, there's an initiative you have called Jefferson Rise. Can you expand on that and let us know kind of how it works, what's been the response from your graduating seniors that you're reaching out to through that initiative to bring them into your graduate programs? What's that been like?
Yes, and thank you for bringing up Jefferson Rise. It's a really great opportunity and program for our current students here at the university. And it's another way that we're generating interest for our graduate portfolio. And Jefferson Rise is a program that we run on our East Falls campus, which is our traditional undergraduate campus. And it's a program that we do have a lot of accelerated dual degree programs, but also a lot of our programs do not have that accelerated dual degree option. So we utilize Jefferson Rise every year. We start promotion of Jefferson Rise in the fall, and it runs into the spring as students are thinking about their next steps after Jefferson. But it's really a program that we promote and target our own students to think about graduate school options. So it's a program that we utilize to identify students in our own university, and we target them through their GPA as well as their current major of study. We basically create a personalized counseling and FAST-AP process for them. So we wait, hey, Ray has a 3.5 and he's a communications major. So we think based off of our own information and our own programs that we offer, we think he may be interested in thinking about an MBA or a marketing degree or other degrees. So we roll out this personalized opportunity and experience for students to explore their options. We create a FAST app, which is very abbreviated. We weight most of the materials because they're already a student at Jefferson. We don't require an application fee or a deposit fee. So it really is an opportunity for them to raise their hand and say, I actually do want to do a graduate program. And we create that really fast, abbreviated, personalized experience for them to really think about their options. There is an on-campus branding experience that we do really push and promote Jefferson Rise as a program and through different efforts on campus. And we do have on-campus event programming in the fall. Like I said, we start this program push in the fall every year, and it goes into early spring as students are thinking about possible graduate school options.
Hey there, it's Mallory, Chief Strategist of Enrollify. Higher ed is facing a leadership crisis. The demands on today's college and university leaders are skyrocketing, and talent is leaving the industry at an unprecedented rate. New leaders like you are emerging, but no one is getting the proper training to be successful. Well, Enrollify is here to change that. Our new course, Lessons in Leadership, taught by Dr. Carrie Phillips, will prepare you to be a confident, empathetic, and effective leader. From systems thinking to adaptive leadership, building culture to handling difficult decisions, this comprehensive online course is perfect for new and aspiring leaders. Don't wait. The course starts September 9th, and for a lucky group of 26 students, we have the option to add interactive sessions with Dr. Phillips for personalized guidance. Visit Enrollify.org to learn more.
So that's a very interesting tactic to think about re-engaging your current student population and giving them the sense that they are special. They're part of an initiative. They're being brought back into the institution at a higher level, at a graduate level, and really being given an opportunity to do that in a way that is unique. So I kind of wanted to pull back a little bit and ask Richard, I'm curious how you balance your efforts between acquiring new applicants for your graduate programs, your large number of graduate programs, and still nurturing relationships with your current students through this initiative to cultivate them for your graduate programs. What is the balance?
Well, it's a really good question. And it's something that we always talk about and discuss on our side of how do we do that? How do we cultivate new interest while also balancing and working current leads that we already know in our system one way or the other? We utilize a lot of the same communication, a lot of the same tactics to drive demand to create what we've called, quote unquote, a generally specific communication plan that we have as much program specific content as we possibly can in our communication plan. Our communication plan is extremely complex, but we also level up things to what we call an area of interest in many, many cases. Each of our programs falls into an area of interest, such as architecture or health or business or fashion, etc. So we do have 9 areas of interest at the university. And a lot of our communications go from program specific content to area of interest content to even Jefferson brand content. So we try to cross utilize our content with program brand messages, etc. And then, for example, for a program like Jefferson Rise, that's when we then add in other specific tailored messages to really make that a unique program and feel. And with Jefferson employees, they a lot of times fall into the same generalized communication plans that we have with our program content, our area of interest content, and brand content. But then we drill in even more with the Jefferson employee specific content and information sessions. So we really try to utilize our content in a way that has an impact across all populations, and then drill in with other specific messages and content to make sure that students are having that personalized and customized feel. But like I said, we've kind of talked about the quote unquote generally specific approach of providing that high level messages, the program messages, and then the very specific program or population specific messages. And that's how we've been able to sustain and really keep to build upon all the different populations that we work with.
That use of content is critical, and we've talked a bit about this on the podcast in prior interviews, but given that you're doing that level of personalization and customization, I imagine technology and new technology is playing a significant role in your enrollment strategy and those engagement efforts, particularly that personalized outreach. So what role is it playing in your communication? How do you see that role expanding in communicating with those potential and current students?
Yeah, so we utilize technology in pretty much everything that we do, whether it's our communication plan, whether it's pulling down data and looking at reporting, analyzing reports. We've built a lot of engagement rules behind the scenes that run in our CRM to help us determine who's the most engaged in the process based off of their own actions. And then we can start to quote unquote, pull students out of certain communications that we aren't working them as aggressively. So we found all of that through analytics and through reporting and different data that we've looked at. Our engagement rules are working. We've really been able to focus on students who are really engaged in our process and respond most to our content messages. An example of that is we may not deploy a print mailer to students who are not engaged in our process, because why would we spend the dollars to do so? Same with phone outreach. If we have our engagement coordinators on the phones, working the phones for new inquiries in the pool, we may pull students who are not engaged, or we actually do pull students who are not engaged in our process out of that, because we want to spend time and focus our efforts on students who are at a higher engagement tier. So we are utilizing technology in a lot of different ways. That's a very high level answer, but we are utilizing data and technology on a day-to-day basis to really manage our pool and manage the engagement pool.
The right communication at the right time to the right audience to achieve the best result. And that's so important when you consider that for a long time in enrollment management, that wasn't the case. There were just blast tactics where personalization meant that you put the first name of the student somewhere in the communication or on the front of the postcard. And that still goes on today. But that idea of leveraging data to find actionable insights, use those insights to strategically deploy your content, your messaging, whether that's physical, phone call, digital outreach. It's really valuable. So could you share some success stories or case studies from this work you're doing in re-engaging students or managing search that have significantly improved enrollment numbers and maybe for a specific program?
All right, that's a really good question. And what I'd like to share really is in more detail about our Jefferson College of Nursing and Jefferson Health Employees outreach that we've done. As I've mentioned, Jefferson as an enterprise is comprised of 3 different pillars: our university, our Jefferson Health employees, and then also our Jefferson Health plans. So we have 3 different types of possible potential students at the enterprise level. We do have 42,000 employees in our network, and each of those different pillars has different tuition remission benefits. So what we've really tried to do is customize the communication, customize the opportunities to tailor toward those different tuition benefits, and also talking about our programs and how our programs can impact students, or in this case, employees, at the enterprise. So what we've really done, and this has been a pilot program this year, is started with our nurses. We have over 9,000 nurses in the Jefferson Health pillar. So we've really started to work with our College of Nursing to host a lot of different information sessions for our current Jefferson nurses. Those information sessions talk about our MSN program, talk about our DNP program, and other graduate certificate programs that we have. And HR joins us for those information sessions. We have the College of Nursing Dean join us for those information sessions, as well as our admissions staff members. So these information sessions have really been an opportunity for employees to learn about what options are available to them, to not only financially consider this as an option for them, but also why, as an employee, should you think about completing a graduate degree at the institution you work at. We've seen really great success with that. We've created a streamlined application process. Again, personalized counseling, personalized communications, And also we waive a lot of the criteria, application criteria, and supplemental documents and application fee, deposit fee. So it's really been a really great streamlined process for employees to enter a graduate program at the institution and really think about what their next steps are.
You've got a lot of channels happening there and a lot of great ways of engaging folks that the school already knows, whether they're current employees, past applicants, current students. Use your crystal ball. This is our final question. Use your crystal ball. Where is this strategy going? Do you see this becoming a larger part of your enrollment outreach? Do you see new channels coming in terms of folks that the institution can engage that are already a part of your campus community? What's next?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely are going to continue to expand upon our employee outreach and employee efforts. The other pipeline for us really is engaging our past inquiries and applicants from our undergraduate portfolio. This is something that is very experimental for us this year because we are just starting to have access to that data in our own system, in our CRM that we use. So we're really starting to think about how can we utilize that data or those students that have at one point expressed interest, the brand resonated with them, and maybe they did ultimately decide to attend somewhere else. How can we bring them back into the fold? I'm thinking about graduate options. So we are really working to determine, one, looking at those engaged students through our own engagement rules that we've built, and then working them through different communication plans, working them through visit opportunities, and even just re-engagement forms that we have them complete on landing pages, that digital strategy that we have and that we're putting in place. So thinking about our past leads, our past inquiries and applicants as a graduate source is also something I think that's really going to be a primary focus for us over the next couple of cycles.
And we look forward to hearing about your success. Richard Graham, Assistant Vice President for Enrollment Strategy and Engagement at Thomas Jefferson University. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us.
Yes, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
The Mastering the Next podcast is a part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our shows help higher ed marketers and admissions professionals find their next big idea and feature a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Artis Cadieux, J.C. Bonilla, Mallory Wilsey, Brendan Henkel, Brian Gross, and so many other of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.